Rich here from the RCNetwork.com, and this is going to be my full review of the Team Durango DEX410 version 5. Now, of course, this is Team Durango's newest 1/10 scale four-wheel drive electric buggy. All right, so what exactly is included in the kit with this new Team Durango? This is a kit version, so you do have to put it together. It is a full kit version, so it does not include any electronics. So anything you see here that's electronic would not be included in your kit. Other things that you do need to provide with your new Team Durango buggy, you will need all new wheels, tires, and the glue to glue those up. Does not include any of those. It also doesn't include any fluids whatsoever. So no grease, no Loctite, no diff fluids, and no shock fluids are in this kit. With that, you do have to provide your own tools, and some good quality tools are always welcome when building a kit. Now, the last thing on this particular kit, it does come with all the parts to make this thing very interchangeable. Now, there's several different setups, and of course, depending on what battery styles you are running, either shorty or saddle pack, you're able to set this thing up with different weight biases, and probably one of the most versatile 1/10 scale platforms on the market. The two main configurations for this vehicle are going to be a forward motor or a rearward motor. And with the rear version, you do have the saddle pack on the rear right alongside of the motor, where if you're going to run the saddle packs, you run the saddle packs in the rear, and the motor will be now backwards facing in the front. Now, how was the manual? Manual overall was greatly detailed. Now, this is a half-sized manual, so it's basically the size of a half a sheet of paper, and with that, they definitely condensed some things down, especially how small the print was. You can kind of see here, it is very microscopic, especially when it gets to some of the setup sheets. It is very, very small, as you can kind of see right here, which is good for pit bag space, but those of us with aging eyes, it is a little bit harder to read. So I wish this did come with a full-size manual, but I get what they're coming from. Let's save the trees out there. So as far as what's left in the entire kit, there is a giant bag of parts that are left. Now, in this bag is everything that was not needed to make the rearward motor version of this. So with that, there's also lots of parts trees in here that just had extra parts on it. I found that there was also two-wheel drive parts, all sorts of things in here that were just extra. So kind of cumbersome that this is all extra, but it is nice that there's extra bits and pieces, lots of adjustability parts, of course, all of the items to make this into a saddle pack running car, and some additional items that if you choose to run Team Durango's two-wheel drive vehicles, you have some extra parts on your hands. So could be a plus or it could be a minus. Now, the next thing is part support. How well is the part support for Team Durango products? On the West Coast here in the United States, not so well. This thing is pretty much going to get you over to Tower Hobbies to pick up most of your parts, and just a couple of day wait time to get those in. Most of the hobby shops in my local area do not carry Team Durango, which is a little bit of a bummer. But if you're into Team Durango and you really like their products, this is a great buggy. So how did the kit turn out? Well, as you see here, it turned out pretty well. Now, definitely have to give credit for the bodywork that was done by Junior Gardner. I'll have a link down to his YouTube channel so you can check out some of his work. And, if you're looking to get a body painted, he's your guy. I mean, this thing is just absolutely stunning. The kit overall, the parts quality, the fitment, and everything else was absolutely great. It worked out really well with some of the electronics that I chose, and in the end, the quality was just absolutely great on this Team Durango buggy. Now, the layout here, you see, of course, I have the motor in the rear right alongside of the shorty pack. Everything else on it was very well appointed. There's lots of upgrades throughout the vehicle, including lots of aluminum pieces, which was really nice. Of course, your typical motor mount is all aluminum, but they also give you a center diff upright that is aluminum too. Usually you'll see plastic versions of those in most buggies. You do have aluminum caster blocks up here, super nice. All of the hinge pins are all hardened steel, but then they made up to kind of a nice design of aluminum hinge pin holders throughout the vehicle. So front, middle, and then the whole rear section back here is all aluminum, including the bulkhead that houses those kind of modular differentials. So it's kind of a case that the diff sits into, and it is plugged into that rear housing back there that's all aluminum. So super nice design. Now the aluminum body shocks, super nice. They do have plastic caps with bleeder screws, but everything else on the shocks were very, very nice. Aluminum bottom caps as well, so pretty nice. Carbon fiber shock towers on both front and rear seem to be pretty thick, about a 4mm size, and I did kind of seal those up with some CA glue. Now you are riding on 6 sets of universals, so both the fronts, the 2 centers, and also the rears are all universal drive shafts, so super nice. Next thing, this is a 3 differential somewhat car, so definitely front and the rear are oil-filled geared differentials, and then the center is kind of like a hybrid. So it not only has a fluid-filled geared differential, but you do have some adjustability with a kind of hybrid slipper clutch that's built into that center diff. Now, one thing that was quite odd with this vehicle as I spin it around here is the center diff is set up quite high. You can kind of see that there's about 3/8 of an inch down there between the bottom of the spur gear and where the bottom of the chassis is. So that is quite high in the vehicle. So a little bit different design than I've seen with some other manufacturers. Overall, the aluminum chassis was quite nice. It is just slightly thin, and I did notice just a little bit of wear up here on the front kick-up, but I was running a chassis protector just to protect that beautiful anodized aluminum chassis. Now with that, I did notice quite a bit of chassis flex, and that probably being because there's no top plate in here kind of mounting the front to the center and the center to the rear. So quite a bit of chassis flex, and that's good in some circumstances and not in others. So how was the durability on this Team Durango car? Well, if you watched my first running video of this thing, I ended up breaking the wing mount after about 3 to 4 laps or so. I kind of lost track, but that thing just flipped over on end and ended up breaking the wing mount back here. So had to wait for the parts to come in, and they were on back order because it seems to be a slight issue with some of the new Durango cars. So lucky with us, there are some aftermarket upgrade vendors out there like Exotech that's actually making a aluminum version of that, which should be very, very nice. So as far as the wing mount back here, just kind of like a circular design, and that's exactly where that thing ended up breaking off, is right where the screw goes in right there. So nonetheless, was back on the track, and I haven't had an issue since replacing that wing mount. Now, other durability issues, I did end up stripping out the servo horn up here. It was a plastic one that came in the kit. Ended up switching out to an aluminum version, so no issue since then. And like I said, the chassis plate it ended up flexing just a little bit more than I liked on my 10 scale vehicles. So how did this DEX410 version 5 drive? It actually drove pretty well. Now, I did find out that this thing was super stable on the straights. It jumped very evenly, and it was kind of what I call a point and shoot type of buggy. So you point it where you want it to go, and it definitely goes there. Now, this thing jumped and landed very well. The shock package seemed to be pretty decent right out of the box, and it definitely had some great traction going into the corners. So that tells you something about their setup sheet on the initial setup. Now, as far as pluses and minuses on this vehicle, the one thing that I gotta say as far as a negative, the wing mount, that thing broke very quickly, and it probably shouldn't have broke that easily after just one little crash. Now, the chassis flex, like I said earlier, just a little bit more than I like. Would have been nice to see some kind of top plates up here to just stiffen the chassis, or have that option to stiffen it if you like that. Now, earlier I did say that the center diff is quite high, which adds to a higher center of gravity. And then the last thing, which was just kind of a strange thing, was the battery strap. It just gives you this kind of one piece of Velcro that you kind of have to cut to size, and it just didn't seem finished for a plus $400 kit. So would have been nice to see just kind of like a hook and loop, but also have kind of that belt style strap would have been nice. So it just would have been nice on a premium kit like the Team Durango is. Now, as far as positives, like I said, super stable. It is well appointed. I mean, like I said, there are just tons of upgrades that are included. You know, aluminum all around. You have some carbon fiber to throw out, and it's very, very nice overall. And then the last thing that I actually ended up liking more than I thought I would was that kind of hybrid center diff. It does not only give you that center diff fill, but you also have the adjustability of the slipper clutch to kind of back it off and fine tune it without having to pull the differential and start tuning it with different oils. So super nice that that adjustability item is there. Well guys, that is my full review of the Team Durango DEX410 version 5. I think if you can get past a couple of the negatives, like the durability in the wing mount and just the little tiny items that I pointed out, this is a great stable buggy overall. It drives great, it is very stable, and it definitely has the traction out of the box as far as the setup. So, well guys, that's it for now. If you have any comments or questions about this review, please post it on down below. And as always, thumbs up and subscribe. That's it for now, guys. Over and out.